Welcome back to The Division 2. In this video, I want to talk to you about the game in general and if it's worth buying in 2023. I don't know when this video is going to go out, so I'm going to say the Steam release for the game is the 12th of January, so you might see it beforehand, you might see it after that release. But the game is coming to Steam, or has been released on Steam, and that's part of the reason I'm doing this video, because there's going to be a lot of new players that are wanting to pick this game up because they've never played it before, they don't have console, and they didn't want to purchase it through Ubisoft or whatever the reason. There's going to be people that have never played this game before. And I'm going to say one thing before we jump into the details of the game, and that is if you are interested in buying this game, if you have no intention to pick up the expansion, don't buy The Division 2. As soon as they released the Warlords of New York expansion, they pretty much did nothing for players without that expansion. They basically forced you into it, which isn't necessarily bad. I'm not saying that as though there's entirely no point to play The Division 2 without it, but you're going to get the majority of your content, the majority of your playtime will be through the expansion. So what you do is you play through the game, you level up, you hit level 30, you take down the strongholds, you go through the world tiers, you progress and you complete the story. Then when you purchase the expansion, you are given an entire new map. You get New York, you originally start in DC, you go over to New York, there's new enemy factions, there's a continuation to the story. And if I remember correctly, when you move over to New York, you're not allowed back in DC until you've completed that New York story. The story's not going to last you a very long time. It's not going to take you hours and hours and hours of gameplay to get the New York story done and have the freedom to switch between New York and DC. But basically what they've done is they released Warlords of New York, they changed all the gear system, they've done a load of updates, they've messed things up, they've made things better. But what you are getting when you purchase this game, standalone, you just get the story, you go up to level 30 through the world tiers. With the expansion, you get the story. Then you've also got seasonal content. They have a manhunt system where you eventually, over the progress of the season, you get to work towards taking down the final manhunt target, which is also a continuation of the story. I don't like the fact that it's been done through seasons, but at the same time, you don't pay any extra money. You just buy the expansion, then every season is free content. I do believe you can replay the old seasons if you make progress in the current season. I'm just loading the game up right now to double check that. Yeah, so what you can do is basically make progress through the season, at least up until season 10. I don't know what's going to happen in future seasons. But starting at rank 53, ending at rank 68, you will unlock the manhunts for the final manhunt target for the previous season. Now this game, at the time you're probably seeing this video, the game is set to very soon release season 11, but all they did was season 1, 2, 3, 4, then 5, 6, 7 and 8 were reruns of the seasons, then 9 started a new one, 10's a new one, so on and so forth. But you get the seasonal content at no additional cost. There's a premium track if you want to buy it for the pass, but it just gives you stuff that you can earn by simply playing the game. With the seasons, they run global events as well as the manhunt targets. They've got global events, they've got leagues. There's a few different things in there that's going to consume your time, is going to help you get better gear and stuff as you make progress. And then outside of that, you've got the modes, you've got Countdown, you've got Summit, but then in 2023... they are releasing new stuff. There's also raids, however, not many people play the raids anymore. There are a couple of speedrun groups that will help you run through them if you hit them up on Discord servers and wherever you can find them. There's a couple of content creators that I believe do it as well. And also, if you're looking for any stuff related to the story, I believe there's a channel called NGN that covers that sort of stuff, all the lore and everything in a lot of depth. But you've got all the stuff that I've mentioned. You've got the story, the season stuff, the manhunts, the leagues, the global events. And in 2023, as far as I'm aware, they are starting year 5. So what they're doing with year 5 is it won't go on to season 12. It'll reset. So it'll be year 5, season 1. Then it'll go 2, 3, 4. Then if they do make a year 6 for the game, it'll be year 6, season 1, 2, 3, 4. So there'll be new manhunt targets to take down. I'm hoping they add some extra stuff in as well. But then there's also a brand new game mode coming called The Descent. Or the mode's just called Descent. And basically, that's going to be a roguelike mode. You jump in with absolutely nothing. You don't loot how you do in the classic sense. You loot talents and things like that. And you make progress. They've said you can be way more powerful in this mode than what you can be outside of it. But when you quit the session, when your session's over in any way, you are going to have to start from the beginning. So I like the idea of the mode. It's extra content coming to the game. But there's also just another thing you have to note with this game. A lot of stuff gets delayed. There are quite a few bugs in this game. There's a lot of community requests that they completely ignore. But when I talk about bugs, I mean on PC. I don't know if it's going to happen on Steam. But on PC, the game crashes a lot. When you're playing the countdown mode, there's a lot of random disconnections. But other than that, in general, it works okay. There's not too many major bugs. But then you've got the PvE experience where you can do the main missions, you can do any content in the game besides the raids and the classified assignments, I think. You can do all that stuff in co-op. But then they also have PvP, they've got conflict, they've got the dark zones. And PvP is just dead on this game. There's quite a few players still playing from what I've heard. But in terms of updates and things like that, they don't bother with it. Because they had a company called Redstorm working with them that made all the PvP stuff. And then about a year after the release of the game, Redstorm stopped working with Massive Entertainment. And PvP has had nothing since. So if you are looking for a game like The Division 2, or like The Division in general, you're not going to find anything like it anywhere on the market. This is a one-of-a-kind game. There is nothing even close to this game out there. I have sunk nearly 2,000 hours into it at this point. I think it's closer to 1,800, but we'll round it up. We'll be generous. Nearly 2,000 hours into the game. And I've had a lot of fun. I've had a lot of stresses. I've had a lot of frustration, all that sort of stuff. But overall, especially if you have never played this game before, I would recommend it. I'd say it's worth buying, but you have to buy the expansion with it. I would say at this stage, there is no point playing without that Warlords of New York expansion. As I said, you've got all the content from the base game, you've got the content from the expansion, which has grown over time to become way more than the base game. They don't add a lot of new content to the game. It's just the seasonal stuff, so you might buy it, do a manhunt, enjoy it, and then you'll realize that the following season is just the same stuff with a different character involved. But overall, if you've never played it, you are going to sink at least a couple of 100 hours into the game if you're interested in playing it. So I would say with that expansion, with the seasonal content they release that continues the story and the different modes that are available, because when they do work, they are enjoyable. I would say it's definitely worth picking this game up in 2023. But another recommendation is don't pick it up anywhere near its retail price. Make sure you get a discount on this game. If you see somewhere charging 20, 30 quid for it, it's not worth it for that much. The game's 4 years old at this point. So try and find yourself a discount on both the base game and the expansion. Make sure you definitely pick up the expansion if you are buying The Division 2. And my last note is, if you're picking it up, if you already play the game at the moment, have fun with it. It can be enjoyable if you do different stuff, and you can come up with challenges to run certain bits of gear and all sorts of stuff like that. There is fun to be had from this game. I recommend picking it up. And on that note, we are going to leave the video there. Check out this video if you want to see other content on the channel. I will see you in the next one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching.